Hello, everybody, and welcome to the live class in the membership program. It's great to have you with me for the live class in the membership program. As always, it is great to have our members participating in the live classes. And so I welcome you to the live class. For those out there who have not participated in a live class or have not participated in a live class with me, well, I'll take a second to introduce myself. My name is Todd, and once again, it's a pleasure to have you with me as we begin our live class. And so in this live class, we're going to be having a little discussion. And that means basically I'm going to be asking you out there some questions, and I want you to consider the questions, see how they relate to you and your particular situation. And I will do the same, and I will offer my answers to my particular situation. So it'll be some listening practice for all of you out there as well. So what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to talk about your region and my region as well. So we're going to talk about our place in life, where we live, where we do things. Okay? Everybody out there ready to go with this? Because I'm ready to start. So let me move you on here. And when I say your region, region refers to your area, your place, your sphere of where you live, where you do things. Okay, so we're talking about your region. All right, so first of all here, describe your country, your region. That is, your geography. Describe the physical characteristics of your country or the place in the place where you live. Describe your language. Describe your food. Describe your weather. Describe the different kind of services that your country provides, and your chief source of income, for example, the revenue that's generated for the country. All right, so think about that, and let me give you my answer for me. Well, I live here in the United States of America. I am in the Midwestern region of the United States of America. And so the language, the dominant language here or the native language here is English. But we also have, in the United States, we have many Spanish speakers here in the United States, many Spanish speakers, especially along the border areas in Texas and in California, New York, many areas of the Florida. Yeah, in Florida, everybody speaks Spanish. We also have Portuguese speakers here in the United States, a lot of people from Brazil, and we have other languages that are spoken where I live. We have a lot of people who speak Hindi and other Indian languages. We have a lot of people here who speak Mandarin and other Chinese dialects and languages. So but the United States of America is a big country, so we have a lot of people, a lot of immigrants here, speak many different languages. We have people who speak German, and many different languages are spoken here. The food, I've talked about this in the past, but we like all kinds of food. We have a lot of different kinds of food here as well. We like Italian food, and we like Mexican food. and we like the American food. We like the German food also. We like the hot dogs and the brats and the different kind of sausages. And yeah, so we also like our sweet treats. We like our desserts and our sweets. So and on we also like our meats. We like our steaks, and on holidays we like our turkey and we like our ham. A lot of people just love bacon. Actually we talk about oh, if everything just tasted like bacon. Bacon is for a lot of people, not necessarily for me. I like bacon, but a lot of people, they love bacon. And so yeah, a lot of different food. Uh, we eat a lot of sandwiches, including hamburgers. A big sandwich like a hamburger. We eat a lot of pizza, things like that. So the weather, again, it's a big country, so the weather varies. We have a lot of different weather patterns in my particular region in the uh, Midwestern area of the United States. The weather can change very quickly. We even have a joke sometimes we can experience all four seasons in 24 hours. That means one for a few hours it may seem very hot, and then suddenly a cold front will come in, sometimes from Canada or someplace, and it'll get cold, and then we'll have snow or rain. And yeah, so we have a lot of different kinds of weather here. So yeah, we can have snow, ice cold weather, and we can also have very hot weather in the summer. Yeah, the services, well, in general, the United States, we have a lot of different services, but a lot of technology. Uh, we have the Silicon Valley, for example, in California, over in the western part of the southwest part of the United States, Silicon Valley, with all the technology and yeah, we also like our sports. Sports here in the United States generates a lot of income for the country. Where I live, we have a professional baseball team that generates a lot of income for the city. We also have a professional football team, American football team, that generates a lot of income for the city as well. And yeah, so there you go. There's number one. We have begun our discussion. Now, number two, what's the best thing about your country? What's the best thing about your country? Okay. Well, it's difficult to answer this question for me. The United States of America, we have many good things here in the country. Very grateful for many of the good things that we do have. We have a lot of sports. We have a lot of sports. And again, I think if we look here, we have two pictures of sports. We have the baseball and we have the American football. And then we have what I would consider technology. We have the rocket ships, so a lot of science. The science and the technology here are great in the country. The food is good, and again, that's largely because we have so many contributors to our food from from other countries. Like I mentioned just before, we have the Italian food, we have the Mexican food, we have all the German food and good food here. And so yeah, a lot of we have a rich history here in the United States of America, and we have good music. I think we have a lot of good music here that contributes to culture, large variety of music, and we have a lot of really good, talented musicians. We have some good colleges here, universities. So a lot of good things about the United States of America. So, but what about you? What's the best thing about your country? I'm sure you have a lot of good things that you can list as well. Yeah, moving on here. Okay, what's the worst thing about your country? Okay, what's the worst thing about your country? Yeah, okay, I think everybody can uh corruption. Yeah, yeah. Here, some people, when I talk to them about this, they don't really believe me, but it is true in the United States. We have challenges here in the United States. We have corruption in government, in the work environment, all over, because why? People are people. People are people. And so, because of that, there's a lot of corruption. I will also say that in the United States, the healthcare system is not what it should be. The healthcare system is really very bad, in my opinion. And actually, I think that one thing that the Democrats and the Republicans can agree on in the United States of America. And trust me, they don't agree on much of anything. They don't agree on anything, but I think there is one thing that they can agree on, and that is our healthcare system needs to be modified and improved in some way. But of course, they just can't agree on how to do that because it's a very complex issue. Another thing, and again, this is my feelings in the country is there is far too much gun violence in the United States of America. It's a huge uh, problem. It's a huge problem, and it has been a big problem for a very long time, too long, and that needs to be corrected. So, yeah, all right. So there you have it. For me, now number 4. If I were coming to visit you for a week, what would we do and see? If I were coming to visit you for a week, what would we do and see? Okay, um, so to relate this to me, I have to say, if you were coming to visit me, what would we do? Well, if you were coming to visit me for a week, yeah, how about we go to the zoo? We could go to the zoo, see some animals. That would be something we could do. We could go visit some of the universities, walk around some of the universities. We have where I live, we have a few universities within several miles, so we could take a look at there. We could definitely go to a baseball game or a football game, depending on when you're here, depending on the season. The baseball season is basically from April to the end of September, and the football season begins around September and it goes through January. So, depending on when you come visit me, we could see one of those games. We would probably go shopping somewhere, go to a mall or something, and we definitely go to the restaurants. We check out some restaurants, a lot of restaurants here. So yeah, sounds good. Oh, and we have museums. We have a lot of museums around here. So we have art museums, history museums. We have museums of all kinds here. So yeah, so that a few things. And we have an amusement park. We call this Kings Island. We could go to a place like Kings Island, and ride some rides. Ride some rides. All right. Number five, do you live in a big city or a small town? Do you live in a big city or a small town? Yeah, well, I live in a it's actually the third largest city in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio. It's but it's not a big city in terms of a huge population. It's not like a New York City, for example. No, no, no. There's I think around three and a quarter million people in Cincinnati. So it's not a super large city, but it's not super small either. It's a mid-sized size city. I would consider it that, but again, it's not a small city either. It's uh, like I said, around 3 million, maybe a little more than that. Okay. All right. Do you have any favorite places? Do you have any favorite places? Yeah. Well, yeah, I like the zoo. I haven't been there for a while. I used to go to the zoo a lot. I like animals. I haven't been to the zoo for a while. I also like libraries. I haven't been to the library here either, but we do have a very good library system here. And I haven't taken advantage of that library system for a while, I guess because I can do most everything. I can get everything that I need online basically now, and there's not a great need for me to go to the library, but it really is I like libraries, and of course there I like swimming pools and areas of water. I like to be along the river. For example, we have the Ohio River here. It's a large river that divides Ohio from Kentucky, the state of Kentucky, and that's a great area to be along the banks, the river banks. That's a very pleasant, uh, relaxing area to be. So, yeah, yeah, that's me. What about you? Do you have any favorite places where you really like to go? How long have you lived in your region? How long have you lived in your region? Me, this is easy. I have lived in my region all of my life. I've lived in my region. If you consider my region as my city, I've lived in this city for 56 years. There, I just gave you my age. I'm 56 years and I've lived here all of my life. I have lived in this particular area of the city around the university area of the city. I've lived here. Now I have to do a little arithmetic in my head real quick. I've lived here about 35 years. I've lived in this particular region about 35 years. Okay. How about you? How long have you lived in your region? How long have you lived in your region? Number eight, have you ever lived anywhere else? Have you ever lived anywhere else? And I just answered that one for you all. No, I haven't. I have lived here all of my life, and I have lived in this particular region for approximately 35 years. I lived in the suburbs of the same city for about 19 or 20 years, which is where my mother, she still lives there in the suburbs, but it's not that far from where I live now, maybe a 30-minute drive from where I live now. So, yeah. But basically the answer for me for this is no. But what about you? Have you ever lived anywhere else? Any other place than where you live now? Would you like to live anywhere else? Would you like to live anywhere else? Me? Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of places I would like to live, but you know what? I do like it here. I'm not unhappy here. Where I live, it's a relatively economical area to live. The cost of living here is relatively low compared to a lot of places in the United States. It really is an economical area. I like that. And also, one thing that the older I get and the more I watch or listen to the news, the more I appreciate is that where I live, thankfully, I have never experienced any kind of a natural disaster. I have never had to live through any kind of floods, any kind of like even a tornado. Now, tornadoes do touch down in the Midwestern area of the United States, but where I have been, no, I've never had to deal with the forest fires that are so prevalent in some parts of the country, or hurricanes that are so prevalent in some parts of the country. And so I'm very appreciative of that. No earthquakes. So, yeah, but would I like to live anywhere else? I love Florida. I really do love Florida, but Florida again, wow, it was hurt. You never know when a hurricane is just going to come up and hit Florida. I like California. California is expensive. Well, so is Florida, but California is expensive. But it's beautiful there in California. Much of California is beautiful, but you have those wildfires there. And then recently there have been earthquakes shaking that place. So, yeah, so having said all that, yeah, there are places I'd like to live, but I don't want to be evacuating anytime soon. So yeah, I'm grateful for where I am right now. But what about you? Would you like to live anywhere else? Would you like to live anywhere else? All right. More discussion questions for you. How much is the minimum wage in your country? Can people live on that? Yeah, so here we get to that economic uh, situation that I was referring to before. How much is the minimum wage in your country? Can people live on that? Yeah, here, I don't even know what the minimum wage, because here in the United States, we have a federal minimum wage. And honestly, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's around $9 per hour, but each state will have its own minimum wage also. So the federal is one thing, but the state is another. So usually or often the state minimum wage will be higher than the federal minimum wage, because some states, the cost of living in those states are it's very expensive. Here where I live in Ohio, I believe the minimum wage is approximately what the federal minimum wage is. I think it's $8 or $8.25 an hour, something around that there. In I think in much of Ohio, people can live on that. It's possible, but it's difficult. Okay, it's difficult. And like I said, it is a relatively uh, economical place to live. Actually, Toledo, Ohio, up north in Ohio, is known to be one of the most reasonably priced or most affordable cities to live in the country. Uh, but but yeah, people can live on minimum wage here, but it is very difficult. It's not easy to live on minimum wage, and in some places of the country, I would think it'd just be impossible. It would just be impossible uh, for some people in some parts of the country to live on minimum wage. I don't see how it would be possible. But yeah. All right. Now, number two, what are the strengths and weaknesses of your healthcare system? Yeah. Oh, wow. Weaknesses. I just, it's hard for me to overemphasize the weaknesses of the healthcare system here. Um, many, it, many necessary procedures are just so expensive, so expensive. Insurance, uh, the insurance policies are just bad and complicated, very, very complicated. The time that you have to wait many times, it just for treatments and for procedures, the waiting time is just way too long. And the overall care that is provided, not by everybody, don't make a mistake here. I'm not, but not, but some, in my opinion, are just not good. The care that is received, just not good. But I think my number one complaint would be the reflex action of many healthcare providers just to prescribe drugs. And many times these drugs are not necessary, and many times these drugs are not only not necessary, they are actually very harmful. That would be my number one complaint in terms of the weaknesses. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying this is a blanket statement about everybody everywhere. No, I'm not really. But it is often the case. Uh, Strong medications are too easily prescribed by too many professionals. So I could go on about this for a long time, but I'm going to spare you and not do it. So I'm going to move on to number three. If you move to a new area in your country, where would you go and why would you go there? If you move to a new area in your country, where would you go? Why would you go there? Like I mentioned, I love Florida. I like the other coast in California. Why? Because I love the oceans. I love the oceans, and I love the tropical kind of weather. But again, I would be very nervous about two things: the cost of living, very high in both of those states, and the risk of a natural disaster of some kind, too high for what I like. So, I guess I'm giving you reasons why I would not go there. Um, but, uh, but yeah, so for now, I'm just going to say what I said before and say I'm pretty content where I'm at right now. I appreciate where I'm at right now. So, number four, what are the current challenges in your country's education system? What are the current challenges in your country's education system? I'll just make this one very fast. One challenge in all education system right now is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a challenge to all education because it's too easy for the students to acquire information too easily. They don't have to, the students no longer really have to remember anything. That's not good. Um, when it's not necessary to remember anything, because you can just look it up or find it instantly. But that's one challenge is artificial intelligence, but also just the cost of good education here in the United States, especially higher education, is very costly, and it really it's too costly. In my opinion, higher education costs too much, and below and also at below the higher education level, it really depends on where you live. Some school districts are very good. Some schools are very good. Uh, Others really not. So there's a lot of variability in the quality of education that one receives, depending on the specific neighborhood or community where somebody lives. Okay. Number 5, what is something that you would like to see change in your country? Well, I'll just throw out something that I mentioned before, and that is the gun violence. I'd like to see gun violence reduced. I'd like to see a change in in what I would consider common sense gun laws here. I just don't. I'm not anti-gun, or I don't believe I'm radical on this position, but I think that we need laws that make it more difficult for people to acquire weapons, and especially weapons uh, that are designed basically for the military. These semi-automatic weapons and things like that. I think it's ridiculous at how easily these kind of weapons can be obtained with very minimal background checks and everything. But this is something else I could go on for quite a while about, but I won't. And yeah, so I will go on to number 6 here. If you move to another country, where would you go and why? If you move to another country, where would you go and why? Oh, wow. Okay, that's kind of difficult, because there are few different countries I'd like to go. I don't know if I would like to live there permanently, but I'd definitely like to go. And basically the reason is that I know people there. Colombia. I'd like to go to Colombia. I'd like to go to Mexico. I know I have friends in Mexico. Beautiful. I've seen some beautiful pictures in Mexico and Brazil as well. Areas in Brazil, but yeah, I'd be interested in going to Italy, maybe, or even Greece or someplace like that. But yeah, as far as actually living there permanently, I don't know, but I'd definitely like to go and stay for a while and get a flavor of that country. So, on that, everybody, I want to thank you all for attending this live class. I want to thank you all again for being members of our membership program. Again, my name is Todd. I will definitely be looking forward to seeing you all again next time. In the meantime, I'm wishing you all a wonderful remainder of your day. Bye-bye.